Hi, it's Dwyer. It is May 31st, 2022. GamblersAdvisory.com, a free site. BettingAngle.us, a free site. Before I talk about the NBA Finals, let me just give a little story, just so you're on notice. Earlier today, I looked at a great tennis player, Rafael Nadal. I could have gotten better than a plus 170 on him at the French Open on clay. I thought to myself, he's too old. I've been waiting for this moment. I took the guy I consider to be the best tennis player in the world, Novak Djokovic. I lost that bet. That's the kind of day. That's the kind of day I've been having, right? Just understand, I lost that bet. I've seen greatness. Jordan, LeBron, Jason Kidd, Elijah, Eric Dickerson, Montana. I've seen greatness. I'm still seeing greatness. Let me take this moment to tip my hat to Nadal at the French Open. That guy is great still. Let's talk basketball. First, remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, for those of you who follow ESPN, their metrics, their BPI, have the Boston Celtics as the likely winner by a wide margin of these NBA Finals. Right? A wide margin. Understand, the host of the Daily Wager on ESPN, a guy named Doug Kazarian, who's an excellent gambler, believes that Boston is a better team than the Golden State Warriors. Right? The gamblers, the betting line in Vegas right now has the Warriors as a mild favorite to win the NBA championship. Let's pick sides. There ain't no half-stepping. In my mind, ESPN's wrong here. I need for people to understand the Golden State Warriors. Folks, this is a stealth great team. Right? Sometimes you have loud teams. Jordan's Bulls, Moses Malone 76ers, right? Shaq and Kobe. Teams where you look at them and you say, wow, this team's loaded. Right? They walk in the front door. Then you have teams like this that are far better than advertised. I know Boston has a higher offensive rating during the season. Right? You need to realize that these Warriors hardly played together. Clay was injured. He was out to start the season. Steph Curry took time off during the season and nursed injuries. Draymond Green took time off during the season. Right? I need for people to understand what the Warriors have been doing in the Bay. They are so deep that very high draft pick, top 3 draft pick, James Wiseman, isn't even on the team right now. He's rehabbing an injury. And still, this Warrior team, in my opinion, and I'm a Knicks fan, right? I live in the Bay Area, but, I'd have no problem rooting for the Knicks against the Warriors, right? But this Warrior team is far better than advertised. Now, truth be told, I'm hedged up. Right, I bet futures. So I have futures on both teams at this point of the season. But I want folks to understand that I'm expecting the Warriors to win this series in less than 7 games. In fact, I've sprinkled a little bit on the Warriors in 5. Game 5 is in Golden State, as well as the Warriors in 6. The mistake I believe a lot of people are making is they're looking at the Warriors for the 2 championships they won with Kevin Durant, right? Let's remember, that's 9 games, right? They sweep LeBron in 4, they win in 5. That was a dominant team. And we see the injuries the Warriors have had. Look, I know Klay Thompson is no longer the flat-out defensive stopper he was. right? I understand Steph Curry, let's face it, 38% from three is not a Steph Curry number. Right? From three this season, in terms of efficiency, his teammate Andrew Wiggins hit a higher percentage of threes than Steph Curry. But this team is better than Boston. Let's talk about it. First, the Warriors get 3 defensive stoppers back. Understand they have not been playing at full strength. And this is a team unlike Boston that hasn't had to deal with the Game 7 yet this playoff season. Understand, too, and I was raised back east. You see me here wearing a Thurman Munson jersey, right? Understand, the Warriors as the 3 seed in the West, right? Again, the 3 seed in the West are the team with home court advantage over the Celtics, right? We forget how rough and tumble the Western Conference was this year, right? The Lakers, folks, not only didn't make the playoffs, the Lakers finished several games below 500. Right? We forget that the team with the best record in the regular season was in the West. It's the Phoenix Suns. Right? The real boogeyman for the Warriors were the Memphis Grizzlies. For some reason, they match up well with the Warriors. Their defense, in my opinion, was at least as physical as Boston's defense is going to be. Right? Well, just understand, the Warriors get back Iguodala, who has already been a Finals MVP. They get back Otto Porter. And they get back Gary Payton Jr. Understand, they already have Draymond Green, one of the best defenders in the entire league, on the team. This is going to be a defensive struggle. Let me also point out, too, that the Warriors likely take Game 1, not just due to being better rested, not just due to being at home, and those are independent of each other, right? But the Warriors take Game 1 because Clay, Steph, Draymond, Looney have already been to the finals. Right? Boston is going to show up. This is going to be like the first quarter of a Super Bowl. When the quarterback can't hit the side of a barn, everyone's hyperventilating, unless, of course, you're Tom Brady and it's another day at the office. Right? By the way, even the Patriots, with Brady, had a problem scoring touchdowns in the first quarters of Super Bowls. So I'm expecting the Warriors to take Game 1. Let me say this too. If the Warriors win Game 2, and the Warriors this playoff season are unbeaten at home, then I believe this ends in 5. Understand, the Warriors have a streak going of winning on the road in the playoffs, right? It's a several playoff series streak. Because once the Warriors get acclimated, it's very hard to stop. They're 3-point shooters. Now, let's talk about that. You know, the Warriors are built differently than practically every other team in the league. Would it shock you to know that the Warriors have 5 guys, 5, who hit at least 36% of their threes, including their main scorers? And this is different than a team like Boston, right? The heavy-duty 3-point shooters, the high-percentage 3-point shooters on the Warriors are the guys getting playing time. Curry, Wiggins, Clay, Jordan Poole. Right? Understand, the starters are the gunners. This isn't like Duncan Robinson and, 3-point specialists who come in, merchants and people like that who come in and they can hit threes, but they're part-time players. No, folks, this is the core of the Warriors. Not so with the Celtics. Understand the 36% figure I've named is something that, well, 4 of the Warrior core hit more than 36% of their threes. Neither Tatum, Brown, nor Marcus Smart hit 36% of their threes. There's going to be an efficiency gap here from three-point land. Let me just make another point, too. Andrew Wiggins was the first pick in the NBA draft. You forget about the talent level because he's playing with Steph, Clay, Draymond. Surprisingly, he's a defensive stopper. I'm just telling you that he might be able to stop Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown straight up. And if he does, that's the series. Let me make another point. You saw how great Boston was defensively. And they are magnificent. They have the number 2 defensive rating of all teams in the NBA. That's spectacular. The team ahead of them are the Golden State Warriors. Right, folks? I'm just telling you. The Warriors can match Boston defensively. Let's say it's late in the game. Now, I saw this in the Memphis series. Memphis clearly should have won one of the games in Golden State. They were ahead. We got to the part of the game where players started fouling each other. Folks, that's game, set, and match for the Warriors. Right? Let's pick a very high number from the free throw line. Not 80%, let's pick 90%. 90. Right? Would it shock you to know that the Warriors have 3 guys who hit 90% of their free throws? Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole. Right, folks, understand. There is almost no one to foul. You have to hope that they pass the ball to Wiggins, who hits less than 70% from the free throw line. Right? Because if they throw it to almost anyone else, you're dealing with spectacular free throw shooting. If you're fouling the Warriors late in the game, hoping they miss so you could get back in the game, you're going to be struggling. Now, I understand that the Celtics have been on a great run. They've beaten KD's Nets. Right? They've beaten the defending champion, Milwaukee Bucks. And they just beat the 1 seed, the Miami Heat. Right? They are young, and I'll concede that Robert Williams is a ringer. That he, in my eyes, might be the best defensive player in this series. Right? Understand, though, he's not 100%. His coach has pointed out that he's day-to-day. He recently had meniscus surgery. Right? The problem, though, is Williams plays under the basket. He's a center. How is he going to stop this 3-point shooting Golden State Warrior team? Let me close with this. I was watching the Warriors against Memphis, and understand that series had Warrior fans worried. Right? I would drop my kid off at her school, And other parents would gather around, and everyone was concerned about the Memphis Grizzlies. Don't sleep on that team. Right? Everyone was concerned. But just understand, the Warriors were not forced to go 7 games then. The Warriors dealt with rough and tumble guys like Steven Adams. Now think about it. Memphis has Steven Adams. And in one of those Golden State Warrior Grizzly games, the Warriors incredibly pulled down not 50, not 60, but 70 rebounds in a playoff game. Now, I've seen great teams before, right? I was alive in the 80s. I saw Showtime. You heard me mention the 4-4 and 476ers, actually 454. I saw Bird, McHale, and Parrish. I saw the bad boys. Let's give them their respect. Right? First the Dwyer, they had Adrian Dantley, they had Zeke, they had Dumars, right? Several bigs, Edwards, Sally, Lambert. I've seen great teams. They usually announce themselves. This Warrior team hasn't. Right? They remind me of the Olajuwon Rockets. Right? They took the regular season cavalierly. They've shown up in the playoffs. KD is gone. The guy who replaced KD, Jordan Poole, who was in the G League. Right? Think about that. Is averaging 17 points a game. Has range, has height. From the free throw line, as I've mentioned, he's up over 90%. Right? I'm just telling you, too. The pieces fit together here. Otto Porter, you heard me mention him as a defensive stopper. Let me challenge you to look up his three-point shooting capability. Right? The Warriors stumbled on a formula when Steve Kerr got there that featured outside shooting. Understand, they have tweaked that formula so that now they are rough and tumble defensively. And they can get boards. There's an efficiency gap here. I think the Warriors have a chance to close this out in 5 games. Right? I know ESPN has advanced analytics, and I know they see this differently. I understand, too, recency bias. Right? People just saw Boston beat the Bucks. Everyone knows about Giannis. Everyone knows about the defending champs. Right? Chris Middleton was out. Let's remember that. Right? People look at the West and they're thinking, Memphis, that's a young, nice, up-and-coming team. They don't realize that Memphis is rough and tumble. Memphis has some guys you've never heard about. This Bane guy, who are legitimate stars. Right? Understand, the Warriors, first round of the playoffs, they played the MVP. Now, I understand. Joker's teammates, a lot of them are injured. Right? But understand, Joker was never in that series. Right? Let's be real here. The Warriors just played Luka Doncic, one of the best players in the league. Luka was never really in that series. Right? The Warriors, if a shooting contest develops, the Warriors just have too many guns. Right? So, as you look at this team, I call them the Phantom Menace. You're going to look at them, you're going to say, hey, this Warrior team is not as rough as the KD teams. You're going to say, hey, I remember when the Splash Brothers were a little bit younger. And, these guys are a little bit older. right? Curry, his numbers are a little bit down. We'll overlook the fact that last year, the season before this one, Curry led the league in scoring. He was the scoring champ. This Warrior team is one of the best Warrior teams I've seen. They're just low key about it. Right? Let me repeat what I said earlier. Think about this. At least 5 guys on this team hit at least 36% of their threes. Numbers Tatum, Brown, and Smart can't match. Let's say Marcus Smart shuts down Steph Curry. Good luck with that, by the way, with this motion offense and Steph Curry with home court advantage. Right? Curry, by the way, is the favorite to win Finals MVP. You do want to sprinkle some money on Marcus Smart. Right? I would also sprinkle some money on Jaylen Brown. I believe Jason Tatum is richly priced. Right? But just understand, you could stop Steph Curry, if you're lucky, and still get decimated by this team. Look at Jordan Poole's numbers against the Denver Nuggets this playoff season. Right? A lot of America doesn't even know that Jordan Poole is on the Warriors. Right? As I said earlier, you're looking at Andrew Wiggins. It takes a while for it to sink in that this year, Andrew Wiggins hit a higher percentage of his threes for the season than Steph Curry. Right? You're going to look at Wiggins' defense and you're going to realize, whoa. He's delivering on the promise. I like the Warriors over the Boston Celtics. I could be wrong. I was already in the French Open earlier today. But I like the Warriors. And let me go further. I know the Warriors have home court. But I don't see this series going 7 games. I think Warriors in 5 is a distinct possibility. Let me point out that if the Warriors go back to Boston up 2-0, Game 3 becomes an existential threat for the Boston Celtics because you're not going to beat a team this efficient shooting the basketball if you're down 0-3. Even if the Celtics win Game 3, understand, this has been the Warrior pattern. Right? They won in Dallas. They won in Denver. They won in Memphis. Right? If the Warriors get hot as a team, and folks, it happens, you're not going to be able to keep up with them in Game 4. Right? The Boston Celtics, and I know they have great analytics, but the Boston Celtics are made for the Eastern Conference. Game 1's going to be played on the West Coast, and let me just say, we do things a little bit differently out West. Right? The Warriors, again, it's the core that's three-pointing you to death. Right? On the ball defense, I'm not saying Glove Jr. is the same as his father, Gary Payton. But my goodness, there are stretches where you start wondering if this is Gary Payton wearing makeup. Right? This is the best team people have overlooked. I'm just telling you, I'm astonished by how good this Warrior team is. Right? I'm not saying that they're Magic, Kareem, Worthy, Coop. I'm not saying it's Bird, McHale, and Parrish. Right? What I'm saying is this team is even more mysterious. Because you see them, they seem to be stumbling. And then you realize that they've just scored more than 30 points in the third quarter. That's the quarter to look at with this team. right? So there's an efficiency gap, folks. There's a coaching gap. Understand, Steve Kerr has been to several finals, has already won 3 of them. That's how I see it. Warriors in less than 7. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section of this video. And let me just add, to see the other side of the fence, look at ESPN's analytics. Research their numbers. They believe in the Celtics when none of the Celtic core hit more than 36% of their threes. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by.